Hi, I'm Lawrence from Keeler Permaculture Farm, and I've been keeping worms for a good 10 years, and I've now got a large-scale worm system and sell worms online in Portugal. But I've got lots of different worm farms, and I'm making a video showing you all the different types of worm farms I have. One of them is a bathtub worm farm, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to set up a worm farm in a bathtub. I really like the bathtub design because it's already made for me and it's already level inside, and also it has a drain at the bottom, and the drain is perfect for collecting the liquid worm fertilizer, the worm extract, which we use in our garden. And it's a nice size. This is a good size once you have an established colony of worms of at least 1,000, 2,000 worms. And so we've just set this new one up here, and I'm going to show you what I do. The first thing is at the bottom I like to put some sort of filter, and this helps to stop the drain getting blocked up. So normally I put a bit of cardboard or hessian and then some sort of crate like this upside down. Then we've done a layer of wood chips at the bottom, and that helps hold some moisture and things like that. Then we need to make a bedding, so we're going to make the bedding with cardboard. So I fill the cardboard 3/4 of the way up on the worm farm, and it's the same in any worm farm, the bucket system or whatever. We fill with cardboard, ripped up cardboard, paper, the inside of toilet rolls, egg cartons, just anything. I never take paper to recycling, I use it for my worm farms. So I first put in some, and then can you pass the hose pipe, please? So I need to water all the cardboard so it stays nice and moist. So there we go, we have their bedding ready, and now what I can do is add a little bit of manure. I like to use manure as the base of the feed, because then you can put a lot at once and they've always got food. The manure doesn't go smelly, the flies don't lay eggs in it, but it's just important the manure is aged, otherwise it gets hot as the microbial life decomposes it. So I'm adding today sheep manure, but I find that horse manure is much better. This is horse manure from my sheep that's been semi-composted. I've got a video on how to compost sheep manure. It also has hay in it and biochar. So now we need to make this nice and wet. It's very crusty. The stuff at the top will stay crusty, and everything under that will turn to worm castings. Nothing like putting your hand in shit. You want to put your hand in?
Sure.
If you have all the time in the world, you could break this up for them, but we don't. We have 1,000 things to do. Okay, so now I make a gap in the middle, and I take my smaller worm farm, and I put these in here. Now this is exciting because this is a different type of worm. I haven't got this type of worm in my worm farms at the moment, so I'm going to cultivate these ones and see how they do here. This is full of worm castings, worms and eggs. So now we have the worms in here and their base food, but something that I like to add, because it's a waste product from the farm, is coffee grinds, used coffee grinds. We don't put this in our compost because all our compost goes to animal feed and they don't like coffee. So we use it for our worm farms. Okay, and I'll spread the coffee around. They love it. A spray of water. The other thing that we need to put in here is some grit for the worms. So for that we use another waste product, which are eggshells. I grind the eggshells up, dry them out, grind them up, and we use this for chicken feed. We use this when planting some veggies that need more calcium, and we also use it for the worms. So now we've built most of the worm farm, I'm going to go into the most important part to make this a successful worm farm. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bathtub worm farm the most successful. I've got a bit of space here, so I'm going to top it up with a bit more compost. So now we've finished the bedding and the feed. And what we're going to do, these worms will thrive in here, but if we bring in extra food that they like food scraps, watermelon skins and things like that, they're going to thrive, but it's not necessary. That's something we can add if we wish. Now we've got this, ideally we put a piece of cardboard, roll out paper or something, just to helps keep the moisture there. And I mentioned before, the top layer is crusty, and that will stay crusty, but if you add paper, then then it's dark there and the worms will actually come up and also consume the manure at the top. I don't have any paper handy, or do we? I'm just going to use bits of paper because that's all I've got, but it does the trick. And again, it has to be wet. So now we're ready to do the secret trick. This worm farm is currently summer here, and we've got this bathtub worm farm in a breezy spot in full shade. It's very hot in Portugal and these guys need to stay cool. In the winter we will move this bathtub into the greenhouse and we'll try and keep them warm. But one way here to double up jobs and keep this well insulated is to cover this with plant pots from our nursery, because that means the soil in the pots will insulate the worm farm. Then also the worms can go up into the pots and we can move worm castings around. And also when we water the plants, we will water the worm farm, as the worm farm does need to be watered every day, and it just makes less places for me to need to water them. So I'm probably going to use this for my succulents that I've just taken cuttings from yesterday. So there we have it. I have to water these succulents every day, so I'm doing the same amount of watering, but now the worm farm is getting watered as well. So the only other tip is, if you're in another place where this needs more insulation, you can build wooden structure around it and actually put insulation in there with the insulated roof. But I prefer to keep it out in the open and have my plants working with the worms rather than making something permanent that can't be moved. The last thing we need to do is get a bucket and put it underneath the drain so we can collect the worm juice. Thanks very much for watching the video. I've got a lot of worm videos in the pipeline and a couple already online. So please do join, and I hope you can start worm farming like me to make homemade compost, worm compost and worm extract as a fertilizer for your garden, and use worms for composting, for compost toilets, vermicomposting toilets, dry compost toilets with worms and stuff like that. And remember, if you want to buy worms, don't forget, if you want to buy worms, I sell worms in Portugal. You can come and collect them, or we can post them to you anywhere in mainland Portugal. For more information, do check out the comments below, and please don't forget to subscribe. And please remember to subscribe.